Hey guys, so 300 years since the last recession of this size. Now, actually, it's a horrible comparison because 300 years is such a long time ago. It wasn't modern economics. There wasn't the understanding of economics. There wasn't the international trade worldwide. None of this went on. So let's cover that today and what my thoughts are on that 300 years is. So guys, don't forget, any questions you've got, put them in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm recording heaps and heaps of information all the time, and actually really enjoying responding to answers and that sort of thing. But look, bottom line is, 300 years. So that's a pretty full-on statistic, and I think the Bank of England is right to say that because I think we've largely been shielded from the full impact right now, and I think come July 1st, it is going to hit, and it's going to hit hard in our minds, okay? Not necessarily is it going to hit straight away. I think, if anything, I think the plans that the government have put in place to get people back to work, off furlough, and to get things moving again will actually work quite well. And I think they will have a dramatic impact. Now, that's not to say that there's not going to be an increase in unemployment. That's not to say that we're not going to be in recession. That's not to say that it's still going to be a recession. Like anyone that says that we're just going to do this V shape and get back to it and everything will be okay, it's not going to happen. Number one, we still haven't solved the virus problem. So there's that issue. In the UK, certainly, we are one of the worst hit countries, and our response has been the worst of any country, to be fair. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff which you've got to take into account, and you can't just discount it by saying, oh no, it'll be fine, it's a virus, and once it's gone, it's fine. It's like, no, it's gonna hit hard. You can't stop an economy for so long and have businesses off and have staff off and all this sort of stuff that's been going on. There's the direct stuff with people getting back to it. That's going to take some time, but then there's the other side of things, which is some people, and I know some people I've been speaking to too, who are sitting there going, actually, I'm not really that impressed with my job, and maybe what I'll do is I'll go get another job, as best I can, or I'm not going to go back to that guy because the employer's pissed them off or something like that. I mean, there's plenty of examples that we're seeing of agencies that have furloughed staff and made a few staff work and just said, right, here's the 20 staff, there's 2 left, you do all that work. And they've really just been putting it on them. So there's a lot of cases like this. So I don't think we can discount the fact that we are going to go into a horrible recession. But the question becomes, what does horrible recession mean? Because a drop in GDP, an increase in unemployment rate, that doesn't necessarily affect everyone equally. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how is that going to affect me? Is my job secure? Is my income secure? How's my portfolio going? How are my tenants going? How are my, property? You got to ask all these sort of questions. What savings have I got if something goes wrong? All this sort of stuff you need to be doing now, and actually you should have been doing it before, but if you haven't, let's do it now, and get some certainty around that, because it may well be that we hit the 1st of July and it gets announced and everything goes, oh, and everyone goes crazy about worst recession, 300 years. That's a great headline. Let's face it. We are in a society that loves headlines. Read the detail below it, okay? Because what they're not saying is, they're not saying, yes, comparatively they're saying 300 years ago you have to look back for such a drop in GDP. But they're not saying that it's going to be this elongated 2008 type style where it's a whole decade of austerity. I mean, we in the UK went through a decade of austerity. It was terrible. The rest of the world got on with it, and the UK just floundered. Stupid bloody, what is his name, Alistair Darling and friggin', I can't even remember their name, they're so insignificant in history. Gordon Brown and whatever, those guys. Bottom line is, they shouldn't have done that. They should have been investing in infrastructure, and I'm hoping that when we get back, that's what the government does. Forget the debt. I mean, look at America. Now, I don't use America as an example of how to do things very often, but the one thing they do is they don't care about the debt. They just keep printing money, and they just keep spending it. Now, they're spending in the wrong places, and they're, social disharmony and all that. So we're not going to get into that debate on here. But bottom line is 300-year recession, yes, but read below those headlines, and I think you're going to find that actually we can recover relatively quickly as long as that unemployment rate doesn't get up too high, yeah, and those people get absorbed back into new jobs. And there's a lot of new jobs being created. There's a lot of new industries that are still growing and will continue to grow. And actually, you know, if anything, what it's done, it's hastened the demise of a number of industries that really were on the way out anyway. You know, things like retail. You know, most retail shops, they haven't been competing. They've been, you know, their margins have been going down and down and down and down. And in actual fact, some have been going thing. I mean, that's where a lot of the big retail chains are falling over now because they just can't they can't compete against the online model. And that's where the Amazons are getting, you know, they put out a corporate bond and they pay 0.4% on a corporate bond. It's like, that's so cheap. That's just, why would you not buy billions? And they did, you know, and that'll fund their expansion and they'll take over the world. The reality is that's what they're doing. You know, it's unfortunate for small business that the governments around the world provide that, but that's a whole nother story. But look, guys, you need to work out how it affects you, but I still stick to what I've been saying, which is, yes, it's going to be devastating. The stats are going to be terrible, and they are already, but it doesn't have to affect you in such a negative way. In actual fact, you can take advantage of opportunities. I mean, I'm talking now between two different parties that I'm working closely with, you know, a $60 million fund just sitting there, you know, to go in and buy assets. And that's the sort of opportunity that you want to get involved into. You know, I mean, not the 60 million, but on your scale, there will be opportunities where you can go in, and whether it be developers offering it, whether that be individuals, whatever it is, go in and get those opportunities, because when it comes around, that's when you'll see that benefit. All right, guys, have a great day, live with passion, and speak real soon. See you later, bye.